Hey guys. I'm back with part 2 of What If Naruto Was Born with the Rinnegan. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one. Let's start. Chapter 10, The Will of Fire. The day of the Chunin exam finals arrived with great fanfare. The stadium in Konoha was filled to capacity with spectators from across the nations. In the Kage box, the third Hokage sat beside the Kazekage, whose face was partially concealed by his ceremonial veil. In the competitors' waiting area, Naruto surveyed his fellow finalists. Sasuke was notably absent, causing murmurs throughout the crowd. Gaara stood isolated in a corner, his killing intent palpable even from a distance. Neji Hyuga, Naruto's first opponent, maintained a stoic expression that betrayed nothing of his thoughts. Nervous? Shikamaru asked, approaching Naruto. Not really. Naruto replied honestly. Just focused. Shikamaru studied him curiously. You've changed since the academy. Less loud, more purposeful. Naruto smiled. Let's just say I've found some clarity recently. The proctor, a jonin named Ginma who had replaced the ill-hate, called the finalists to the arena floor for opening announcements. As they stood before the cheering crowd, Ginma explained the rules and revealed a change to the match schedule. Sasuke's fight had been postponed until later to accommodate his absence. The first match, Naruto Uzumaki vs. Neji Hyuga. Remaining competitors, please return to the waiting area. As the others departed, Naruto faced Neji in the center of the arena. The Hyuga prodigy's pale eyes regarded him with cool assessment. You should forfeit, Neji advised. Fate has already determined the outcome of this match. You cannot defeat a Hyuga prodigy. Naruto shook his head. I don't believe in predetermined fate, Neji. We make our own destinies through our choices and actions. Naive words from someone who doesn't understand the reality of an inescapable destiny. Neji replied, sliding into the gentle fist stance. Allow me to educate you. Ginma raised his hand, then dropped it sharply. Begin! Neji immediately activated his Byakugan and charged, his strikes aimed at Naruto's chakra points. Naruto dodged with greater speed than most expected, keeping just beyond the Hyuga's reach. You've improved your speed, Neji acknowledged. But you cannot evade forever. I don't plan to, Naruto replied, creating a dozen shadow clones that surrounded Neji. The Hyuga was unimpressed. I can see the real you with my Byakugan. These diversions are useless. The clones attacked simultaneously, forcing Neji to demonstrate his rotation technique, spinning rapidly to create a dome of chakra that repelled all attackers. When the rotation ceased, Neji stood unharmed in a small crater. This is the Hyuga clan's ultimate defense, he stated. You cannot penetrate it. In the stands, spectators were impressed by both competitors. Hinata, watching nervously beside Kiba, whispered encouragement for Naruto while admiring her cousin's skill. Naruto's holding back, Kakashi observed a guy beside him. He's testing Neji's abilities before revealing his true strength. The battle intensified as Naruto began incorporating the training he had received from Jiraiya. His movements became more fluid, his tactics more sophisticated. Still, he refrained from activating his Rinnegan, respecting Jiraiya's advice about revealing his full capabilities. Neji, growing frustrated with Naruto's resilience, decided to end the match decisively. You are within my range of divination, he announced, shifting his stance. 8 trigrams 64 palms. The technique struck with blinding speed, hitting chakra points throughout Naruto's body. The final strike sent him tumbling backward, seemingly unable to mold chakra. As I predicted, Neji stated confidently. Your chakra points are closed. This match is over. In the Kage box, the Kazekage leaned forward with interest. The Hyuga boy is impressive, indeed, the Hokage replied, though his attention remained fixed on Naruto. But the match isn't finished yet. On the arena floor, Naruto struggled to his feet. You're right about one thing, Neji. This match is about fate, just not in the way you think. What nonsense are you speaking? You can no longer mold chakra, Naruto smiled. That would be true for most people. But I'm not most people. With that, he closed his eyes in concentration. When they opened, they remained blue, but his presence had changed. Red chakra began to seep from his body, visibly reopening his chakra pathways. Impossible! Neji exclaimed, his Byakugan revealing the transformation occurring in Naruto's chakra network. What are you? Someone who understands what it means to be caged? Naruto replied, the Nine Tails chakra now forming a visible shroud around him. Just like you, Neji. Just like Hinata. Just like every member of the branch family marked with that cursed seal. Niji's composure faltered. You know nothing about my cage. I know more than you think. Naruto countered, his voice carrying throughout the silent stadium. You believe you're fighting against an inescapable fate. But you're really just fighting against your own pain and anger. With newfound speed, Naruto charged. Niji attempted another rotation, but Naruto's enhanced strength allowed him to break through the defense. Their battle became a blur of movement, with Naruto pushing Niji to his limits. Finally, seeing an opening, Naruto formed a swirling sphere of chakra in his palm, the Rinnegan, though not at full power. The technique collided with Niji's hastily formed defense, creating an explosion of chakra that left both competitors in separate craters. For a moment, either moved. Then Niji struggled to lift his head, finding himself unable to stand. Naruto, meanwhile, climbed from his crater, battered but victorious. How? Niji asked as Naruto approached. How did you overcome fate? Because fate is just a word people use when they've given up on changing things. Naruto replied, extending his hand to his fallen opponent. You're too strong to give up, Niji. Use that strength not to accept your cage, but to break it, for yourself and for your clan. As medical ninja arrived to assist Niji, the stadium erupted in applause. What had begun as a physical contest had transformed into something more profound, a challenge to long-held beliefs about destiny and determination. Winner Naruto Uzumaki! Genma announced. In the stands, Hinata wiped tears from her eyes. Kakashi smiled proudly. And in the Kage box, the Hokage nodded with satisfaction while the Kazekage watched with calculating interest. The tournament continued with Shikamaru's match against Temari, showcasing the Nara's tactical brilliance despite his eventual forfeit due to chakra exhaustion. The crowd, initially disappointed by his surrender, soon recognized the strategic mind that had nearly defeated an opponent with seemingly every advantage. As Shino and Kankuro were called for the next match, the Sand Ninja surprisingly forfeited before the battle began, raising suspicions among the more observant Jonin. Tension in the stadium increased when Sasuke still hadn't appeared for his match against Gaara. We should disqualify him, Genma muttered to the other proctors. Rules are rules. Wait. The Hokage's voice came through their communication devices. Extend the time limit. The Uchiha will arrive. Just as Genma was about to announce another delay, a swirl of leaves appeared in the center of the arena. When it cleared, Sasuke and Kakashi stood back to back. Sorry we're late, Kakashi offered casually. We got lost on the path of life. Naruto, watching from the competitor's box, noticed the changes in his teammate immediately. Sasuke's hair had grown longer, and his chakra signature felt different, more controlled but also darker, likely influenced by the curse seal. His eyes, when they briefly met Naruto's, held a new intensity. Sasuke Uchiha vs. Gaara of the Desert, Genma announced. Begin! The match that followed demonstrated why these two genin were considered prodigies. Sasuke's speed had increased dramatically during his training with Kakashi, now matching Rock Lee's without weights. His newly learned Chidori technique, a lightning blade that could pierce sand, posed a genuine threat to Gaara's ultimate defense. For the first time in his life, Gaara was injured. Blood trickled down his shoulder where Sasuke's Chidori had penetrated his sand armor. What is this? Gaara whispered, touching the red liquid with trembling fingers. Blood? My blood? His scream echoed throughout the stadium as he clutched his head in apparent agony. Sand swirled around him, forming a protective sphere. In the Kage box, the Kazekage turned to the Hokage. It seems your Uchiha has pushed my son to his limits. The Hokage's eyes narrowed slightly at the phrasing. Before he could respond, white feathers began falling throughout the stadium, a genjutsu designed to put civilians to sleep. Kai! Ninja throughout the stands released the illusion, immediately alert to the danger. Explosions rocked the village walls as massive summoned snakes appeared, crushing sections of Konoha's defenses. Sound and Sand Ninja emerged from disguises among the spectators, attacking Leaf Shinobi. So, the time has come, Orochimaru, the Hokage said calmly as the Kazekage shed his disguise, revealing the pale face of the snake Sannin. Indeed, Sarutobi-sensei. Orochimaru smiled, his tongue flicking out unnaturally. Time for Konoha to fall and for you to die. In the arena, Gaara's siblings landed beside his sand sphere, supporting their brother as he underwent a partial transformation. The plan has begun, Temari urged. We need to get Gaara to the extraction point. Stop them! Genma ordered as the Sand siblings fled with the partially transformed Gaara. Sasuke, pursue but do not engage alone. This is now an A-rank mission. Without hesitation, Sasuke took off after them, his Sharingan tracking their chakra signatures. Naruto fought his way through enemy ninja to reach Kakashi. Sensei! What's happening? Invasion! Kakashi replied tersely, dispatching a sound ninja with a lightning-enhanced kunai. Orochimaru is leading a combined sand and sound force against Konoha. Sasuke is pursuing Gaara, who appears to be central to their strategy. I need to help him, Naruto insisted. Gaara is a Jinchuriki like me. If he fully transforms, go. Kakashi nodded. Take Sakura and Shikamaru as backup. I'll send Pakken to guide you. As Naruto gathered his teammates and set off in pursuit, the Hokage found himself trapped with Orochimaru inside a barrier jutsu maintained by the Sound Four. Across Konoha, battles erupted as the invasion unfolded. Deep in the forest outside the village, Naruto's team caught up to Sasuke just as he confronted the Sand siblings. Gaara, now half-transformed with Shikaku's features covering one side of his body, laughed maniacally. Yes! More prey for my existence to be validated! He roared. Mother wants your blood, Uzumaki! She has been excited since she sensed you in the forest. Shikamaru, Sakura, handle the siblings. Naruto instructed. Sasuke and I will deal with Gaara. 2 against 1? That hardly seems fair. Kankuro smirked, deploying his puppets. Troublesome. Shikamaru sighed, but his shadow was already stretching toward the puppet master. As their teammates engaged, Naruto and Sasuke faced Gaara together. The Sand Jinchuriki's transformation was progressing rapidly, his humanity giving way to Shikaku's influence. We need to stop him before he fully transforms, Naruto warned. Trust me on this, Sasuke nodded, activating his Sharingan. I'll follow your lead. You seem to understand what we're dealing with. Their coordinated attack drove Gaara back initially, with Sasuke's fire techniques creating openings for Naruto's shadow clones to exploit. But as Gaara's transformation advanced, their advantage diminished. I can't hold back anymore, Naruto realized as Gaara's tail sent Sasuke crashing through a tree trunk. Sasuke! Cover me for 30 seconds! Without waiting for a response, Naruto closed his eyes in concentration. When they opened, the concentric rings of the Rinnegan were visible. What the? Sasuke began, before launching another Chidori to distract the advancing Gaara. Naruto formed hand signs and slammed his palm to the ground. Summoning Jutsu! Gamabunta appeared in an explosion of smoke, his massive form dwarfing the trees around them. Naruto? Twice in 1 month? This better be important, very important, Naruto confirmed, pointing at the increasingly monstrous Gaara. He's the One-Tails Jinchuriki, and he's losing control. Gamabunta assessed the situation quickly. This is going to be messy. Hold on tight. The battle that followed was unlike anything the forest had witnessed before. A massive toad wielding a sword against a partially transformed Shikaku, with Naruto directing attacks using his Rinnegan's enhanced perception. Sasuke, watching from below, activated his Sharingan to its limits, recording every technique and movement. Despite the dire situation, he couldn't help but feel a mixture of awe and competitive drive seeing Naruto's hidden powers finally revealed. The turning point came when Gaara, desperate and nearly consumed by Shikaku, forced himself into unconsciousness to give the tailed beast full control. The fully manifested Shikaku roared in triumph. I'm free! Time to paint this forest with blood. Now it gets really difficult, Gamabunta warned. We need to wake the Jinchuriki to suppress Shikaku's consciousness. Get me close enough to hit him, Naruto instructed. I have an idea. Using a combination transformation technique, Gamabunta briefly took the form of the Nine-Tails, a psychological shock tactic that created an opening for Naruto to leap toward Gaara's unconscious form atop Shikaku's head. As he approached, Naruto channeled chakra to his Rinnegan and activated the human path, not to extract Gaara's soul, but to establish a momentary connection between their minds. In that brief mental link, Naruto witnessed Gaara's isolated childhood, the assassination attempts, the village's fear, the father who saw him only as a weapon. It mirrored Naruto's own early years, but without the eventual acceptance he had found. You're not alone anymore, Naruto told him, both mentally and as he physically struck Gaara, disrupting Shikaku's control. Being a Jinchuriki doesn't make you a monster unless you choose to become one. Shikaku's form began to crumble as Gaara regained consciousness. Both boys plummeted toward the forest floor, exhausted from the immense chakra expenditure. Gamabunta, equally drained, disappeared in a cloud of smoke after ensuring Naruto would land safely. They faced each other on a tree branch, barely able to stand. Why? Gaara asked weakly. Why fight so hard for others? Where does your strength come from? From the people precious to me, Naruto answered. When you have someone to protect, that's when you become truly strong. Someone precious? Gaara repeated, the concept foreign to him. Before they could continue, Temari and Kankuro arrived, having escaped from their battles with Shikamaru and Sakura. They positioned themselves protectively in front of their brother, expecting the fight to continue. Enough. Gaara surprised them by saying, "It's over. We're retreating." As the Sand siblings departed, Sasuke joined Naruto on the branch. "Those eyes," he said quietly. "The Rinnegan. That's what you've been hiding." Naruto nodded tiredly. "It's complicated. You'll explain everything later," Sasuke stated rather than asked. "For now, we should return to the village. The invasion is being repelled." Kakashi's voice came from below as he appeared with Pakken. But at great cost. The gravity in their sensei's voice told them something terrible had happened. "The Hokage?" Naruto asked, dreading the answer. Kakashi's silence was confirmation enough. Chapter 11, Inheritance. The funeral for the third Hokage was held 3 days after the invasion. Rain fell steadily as if the sky itself mourned Hiruzen Sarutobi's passing. Ninja and civilians alike gathered to pay respects to their fallen leader, who had sacrificed himself to prevent Orochimaru from destroying the village completely. Naruto stood between Sasuke and Sakura, his face solemn as he placed a white chrysanthemum on the memorial. The Hokage had been more than a leader to him. He had been a grandfather figure, one of the first people to acknowledge Naruto as more than just the Nine Tails container. "He died as he lived," Kakashi said quietly to his team. "Protecting what he loved." After the ceremony, Jiraiya found Naruto at the Hokage monument, sitting atop the third stone head. "I thought I might find you here," the Sannin said, settling beside his godson. "He knew everything," Naruto said after a long silence. "About my parents, the Rinnegan, the Akatsuki. He carried so many secrets to protect everyone. That's the burden of leadership," Jiraiya agreed. "Decisions that keep you awake at night, knowledge that's too dangerous to share." Naruto looked toward the village below. "What happens now? With Orochimaru still out there and the Akatsuki hunting Jinchuriki, the village elders have asked me to become the 5th Hokage," Jiraiya revealed. "You?" Naruto couldn't hide his surprise. "But you're always saying you want to avoid responsibility and just do your research," Jiraiya chuckled. "I turned them down, of course. I'm more valuable to Konoha maintaining my spy network. Besides, there's someone far more qualified, my old teammate Tsunade, the legendary medical ninja." Naruto had heard stories of the third Sannin, the very same. "And I want you to come with me to find her." Naruto's eyes widened. "Really? Just the two of us? Consider it an extended training mission." Jiraiya nodded. "You've revealed your Rinnegan publicly now, which means 2 things. First, you'll need even more intensive training to master it fully. Second, you've just painted a target on your back for every power-hungry ninja in the elemental nations, including the Akatsuki," Naruto added grimly, "especially them. Which is why we need Tsunade back in Konoha, both as Hokage and to continue the medical research that might help us understand your unique abilities." The next morning, Naruto met with his teammates to explain his departure. Sakura took the news with understanding, while Sasuke's reaction was more complex. "So you're leaving just when things are getting interesting," the Uchiha remarked, his tone carefully neutral. "It's not like I want to go," Naruto replied. "But with the Akatsuki targeting Jinchuriki and Orochimaru still interested in both of us, I need to get stronger." "Both of us?" Sasuke's eyes narrowed. "Don't pretend you haven't noticed him watching you during the invasion," Naruto said bluntly. "Orochimaru wants your Sharingan. He marked you with that curse seal for a reason." Sasuke's hand unconsciously moved to the seal on his neck. "Kakashi's containment jutsu is holding it back, for now," Naruto agreed. "But be careful while I'm gone. And keep training with Kakashi-sensei. When I come back, I expect a proper rematch." A ghost of a smile crossed Sasuke's face. "Don't fall too far behind, dead last." Their journey to find Tsunade took Naruto and Jiraiya through several towns, following rumors of a legendary sucker with terrible luck at gambling. Along the way, Jiraiya continued Naruto's training, focusing particularly on the Rinnegan and further mastery of the Rinnegan paths. "The Rinnegan is an A-rank technique created by your father," Jiraiya explained as they practiced in a clearing. "It took him 3 years to develop it. I'm giving you 3 weeks." 3 weeks? Naruto protested. "That's impossible. For most people, yes," Jiraiya agreed. "But you have resources most don't, extraordinary chakra reserves, shadow clones for accelerated learning, and the Rinnegan's intuitive understanding of chakra manipulation. The training proceeded in 3 stages: rotation, power, and containment. Naruto approached each challenge with determination, using hundreds of shadow clones to compress months of practice into days. His progress impressed even Jiraiya, though the Sannin was careful not to show it too obviously. "You're picking this up faster than your father did," he admitted after Naruto successfully formed the stable, if smaller than standard, Rinnegan. "Though your control still needs work." Their search eventually led them to Tanzaka Town, where they not only found Tsunade but also discovered that Orochimaru had reached her first with an offer: heal his arms, damaged during his battle with the third Hokage, in exchange for resurrecting her loved ones using the impure world reincarnation technique. The ensuing confrontation in a local bar revealed Tsunade's deep emotional wounds. The loss of her brother and lover had left her bitter and disillusioned with the fool's errand of being Hokage. "Everyone who takes that title dies," she declared harshly. "Only a complete idiot would want to be Hokage." "You're wrong," Naruto countered, his voice steady despite his anger. "The Hokage protects the village because the village is worth protecting. My father gave his life for Konoha. The third did the same. They weren't fools, they were heroes." Tsunade's eyes widened slightly at the mention of his father. "You know, I know everything," Naruto confirmed. "About my parents, about the 9 tails, about why they died. And I know that running away from pain doesn't make it disappear, it just means you've stopped living." Bold words from a brat who hasn't experienced real loss. Tsunade snapped. "Enough." Jiraiya intervened. "Tsunade, the village needs you. Orochimaru is lying, you know that technique requires sacrifices. Are you really considering his offer?" Tsunade stood abruptly. "I need time to think. I'll give you my answer in 1 week." After she departed with her assistant Shizen, Jiraiya sighed heavily. "That could have gone better. She's really considering helping Orochimaru, isn't she?" Naruto asked incredulously. "Grief can cloud even the sharpest minds," Jiraiya replied solemnly. "Tsunade has carried her losses for decades. The possibility of seeing her loved ones again, even as reanimations, it's a powerful temptation. We can't let her do it," Naruto insisted. "Not just for Konoha's sake, but for hers too. That snake won't keep his word." The following day, Naruto sought out Tsunade's assistant Shizen, hoping to better understand the legendary medic's situation. He found her training in a secluded field with a pet pig named Tonton. "Naruto-kun," she greeted him with surprise. "I didn't expect to see you here. I wanted to understand more about Tsunade-sama," he explained. "Yesterday, she seemed so different from the stories I've heard." Shizen's expression softened. "The Tsunade from those stories existed before tragedy struck. Before she lost her brother Nawaki and her lover Dan in the wars." As they talked, Shizen revealed the depth of Tsunade's trauma, how she had tried to advance medical ninjutsu to save lives on the battlefield, how she had given her grandfather's necklace to both Nawaki and Dan only to see them die shortly after, and how she had developed hemophobia, a fear of blood, after failing to save Dan despite her medical expertise. "She's been running from those memories ever since," Shizen concluded. "Gambling, drinking, moving from town to town, anything to escape the pain." Naruto absorbed this information thoughtfully. "The necklace, it belonged to the first Hokage?" "Yes, it's one of the few remaining treasures of the Senju clan. Lady Tsunade believes it's cursed because anyone besides her who wears it dies." That evening, Naruto found Tsunade at a local bar, already several bottles into her nightly routine. "Come to lecture me again, brat?" she asked without looking up from her sake cup. "No," Naruto replied, taking the seat across from her. "I came to make a bet." This caught her attention. "A bet? What could you possibly have that I'd want?" "If I can master the Rinnegan completely in 1 week, you'll return to Konoha as Hokage and give up any idea of helping Orochimaru." Tsunade's eyes narrowed. "And if you fail, I'll give up on becoming Hokage myself," Naruto stated seriously. "And you can do whatever you want, help Orochimaru, keep running, whatever." "Jiraiya put you up to this?" she asked suspiciously. "He doesn't know I'm here," Naruto assured her. "This is between you and me." Tsunade studied him for a long moment before a calculating smile spread across her face. "Fine. But let's raise the stakes. If you somehow manage to master the Rinnegan, I'll give you this." She touched the crystal necklace hanging between her considerable assets. "The first Hokage's necklace?" Naruto confirmed, surprised by the offer. "It's worth 3 mountains with the gold mines underneath them," she informed him. "But it won't matter, because you can't possibly master an A-rank jutsu created by the 4th Hokage in just 1 week. You're on, Granny Tsunade." Naruto grinned, extending his hand. She shook it firmly, adding a squeeze that made him wince. Don't call me that. For the next 6 days, Naruto trained with single-minded determination. He created hundreds of shadow clones each day, dispersing them periodically to absorb their collective experience. The training ground became increasingly damaged as failed Rinnegan attempts tore through trees, rocks, and the ground itself. On the evening of the 6th day, exhausted and with his chakra pathways strained from overuse, Naruto finally achieved a breakthrough. The Rinnegan formed perfectly in his palm, stable, powerful, and complete. I did it, he whispered, staring at the swirling sphere of chakra before it dissipated as he lost consciousness from exhaustion. When he awoke in his hotel room the next morning, Jiraiya was sitting beside his bed with an unusually serious expression. Shizen found you collapsed at the training ground, the Sannin explained. You pushed yourself too far, but I did it, Naruto insisted, trying to sit up despite his body's protests. I mastered the Rinnegan. I believe you. Jiraiya nodded. But we have a bigger problem. Tsunade drugged me last night, a tasteless, odorless compound in my sake. She's gone to meet Orochimaru. Naruto's eyes widened. We have to stop her, that's the plan. Can you move? With effort, Naruto stood. I'll manage. The Nine-Tails chakra is already healing me. They found Tsunade confronting Orochimaru and his assistant Kabuto in an open field outside town. The signs of battle were already evident. Massive craters from Tsunade's legendary strength dotted the landscape. Looks like she decided against helping him after all, Jiraiya observed as they approached. Or she tried to kill him instead of healing him, Naruto suggested. Their arrival changed the dynamic of the battle. Kabuto, revealing himself to be more than just a skilled medic, engaged Tsunade directly while Orochimaru faced off against Jiraiya. Naruto-kun, Kabuto greeted with false pleasantness. I was hoping we'd meet again. Your Rinnegan will make an excellent research subject. After I deliver you to Orochimaru-sama, of course. You'll have to beat me first, Naruto replied, activating his Rinnegan and creating shadow clones. The battle that followed pushed Naruto to his limits. Kabuto's medical knowledge made him a dangerous opponent. He could sever muscles with a touch, and knew exactly where to strike for maximum damage. Even with the Rinnegan's enhanced perception, Naruto struggled to avoid all of Kabuto's attacks. When a precision strike to his heart temporarily disrupted his cardiac rhythm, Naruto fell to his knees, blood trickling from his mouth. Tsunade, seeing this, froze, her hemophobia paralyzing her despite her desire to help. Is this all the legendary Rinnegan amounts to? Kabuto taunted, approaching for a finishing blow. Through sheer willpower, Naruto forced himself to stand, forming a Rinnegan in his right hand. Not even close, he managed through gritted teeth. With his left hand, he activated the Preta Path, absorbing the chakra from Kabuto's next attack to fuel his own technique. The medic's eyes widened in surprise just before Naruto slammed the completed Rinnegan into his chest. Impossible! Kabuto gasped as the spiraling sphere tore through his defenses, sending him flying backward to crash into a boulder. Naruto turned to Tsunade, who remained frozen. I won our bet, he reminded her, before collapsing again. This seemed to snap Tsunade out of her paralysis. Her medical instincts overrode her fear as she rushed to Naruto's side, hands already glowing with healing chakra. Foolish boy, she muttered, though there was no real anger in her voice. You've torn your chakra network in multiple places. As she worked to stabilize him, the battle between Jiraiya and Orochimaru intensified. Both Sannin had summoned their respective animal partners, Gamabunta for Jiraiya and Manda for Orochimaru. The giant toad and snake clashed with earth-shaking force, their masters trading powerful ninjutsu atop their heads. Your arms are useless, Orochimaru, Jiraiya called out, noticing how his former teammates struggled to form hand signs. Whatever you're planning, it won't work. I don't need my arms to defeat you, Orochimaru hissed, using his elongated tongue to form seals instead. I've evolved beyond such limitations. The battle concluded in a stalemate when Orochimaru, realizing he couldn't win against both his former teammates, retreated with the injured Kabuto. Before disappearing, he left them with an ominous warning. This isn't over. Konoha will fall, and the boy's eyes will be mine. There are more ways than one to achieve immortality. In the aftermath, as Tsunade continued treating Naruto's injuries, she reached for the necklace around her neck. You won fair and square, she acknowledged, removing the crystal and placing it around Naruto's neck. Though I still think you're an idiot for pushing yourself so hard. Does this mean you'll come back to the village? Naruto asked hopefully. Tsunade glanced at Jiraiya, who watched them with an uncharacteristically gentle expression. Yes. she decided. It's time I stopped running from my past. Konoha needs a Hokage, and apparently, I'm the best option available. You're more than that, Jiraiya assured her. You're exactly what the village needs right now. 3 days later, they began their journey back to Konoha. As they traveled, Tsunade took a more active interest in Naruto's abilities, particularly the interaction between the Ninetales chakra and his Rinnegan. The cellular regeneration is remarkable, she observed after examining him. But the strain on your chakra network is concerning. We'll need to develop a specialized training regimen once we're back in the village. Does that mean you'll be training me too? Naruto asked excitedly. Don't push your luck, brat, she replied, though her smile softened the rebuke. I'll have an entire village to run. But I'll make sure you have access to the resources you need. Chapter 12, Shadows Deepen. Konoha welcomed its new Hokage with a mixture of relief and celebration. Tsunade's reputation as a legendary Sannin and the world's greatest medical ninja inspired confidence in a population still recovering from Orochimaru's invasion. Her first official act was to heal those still suffering from injuries sustained during the attack, including Rock Lee, whose shinobi career had been threatened by severe damage to his spine and chakra network. Her second was to summon Team 7 to her office. I've reviewed your mission records and recent activities, she informed them, seated behind the Hokage's desk with Shizen standing attentively nearby. Impressive for Genin, if somewhat concerning in terms of the dangers you've faced. Thank you, Hokage-sama, Kakashi replied for the team. Don't thank me yet, Hatake, Tsunade countered. I'm concerned about the target this team represents. An Uchiha with an active Sharingan, a Jinchuriki with the Rinnegan, and a Kunoichi with perfect chakra control and genjutsu resistance. Together you might as well paint a bullseye on yourselves for every enemy of Konoha. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances while Sakura shifted uncomfortably. What are you suggesting, Lady Tsunade? Kakashi asked carefully. Specialized training, she replied. Separate paths for each of you to maximize your potential while minimizing the risk of losing all 3 assets at once. You're splitting up our team? Naruto protested. Temporarily, Tsunade clarified. Uchiha, you'll continue advanced training with Kakashi, focusing on your Sharingan and lightning techniques. Haruno, you've demonstrated aptitude in genjutsu resistance and chakra control, essential qualities for medical ninjutsu. You'll begin apprenticeship at the hospital under my supervision. And me? Naruto asked. You. Tsunade fixed him with a stern look. We'll be leaving the village again with Jiraiya for extended training. The Akatsuki will make their move soon, and you need to be prepared. How long? Sasuke asked, his voice carefully neutral. 2 to 3 years, Tsunade answered. Long enough for Naruto to master his unique abilities and for the rest of you to develop your specialties. The news hit Team 7 hard. Despite their occasional conflicts, they had become a cohesive unit through shared dangers and triumphs. The prospect of years apart was difficult to accept. After the meeting, they gathered at their usual training ground, each lost in thought about their new paths. I guess this is goodbye for a while, Sakura said finally, breaking the silence. Not goodbye, Naruto corrected. Just see you later. Sasuke, leaning against the training post, spoke without looking at them. Don't fall behind, either of you. When we reunite, I expect you both to be strong enough to keep up with me. Is that a challenge, Sasuke? Naruto grinned. A ghost of a smile crossed the Uchiha's face. Consider it motivation. Their last evening together was spent at Ichiraku Ramen, where Tucci and Ayam prepared a special feast in honor of Team 7's achievements and future endeavors. Friends from their academy days joined them. Shikamaru, newly promoted to Chunin, Hinata, whose quiet support of Naruto had never wavered, Kiba and Akamaru, boisterous as ever, and others who had become part of their extended family. As the night wound down, Naruto found himself walking alongside Hinata, who had volunteered to help him pack for his journey. And Naruto-kun, she began hesitantly as they approached his apartment. There's something I've wanted to tell you before you leave. What is it, Hinata? He asked, noticing her unusual determination despite her nervousness. She took a deep breath, her pale eyes meeting his directly for perhaps the first time. I've always admired you. Your strength, your perseverance, your kindness even when others were cruel to you. I believe in you more than anyone else. Naruto blinked, surprised by both her words and the absence of her usual stutter. Hinata, you don't need to say anything, she continued quickly. I just wanted you to know that someone has always seen your worth, even before you had the Rinnegan or anyone else acknowledged you. With that, she quickly kissed his cheek and hurried away, leaving Naruto touching the spot with a bewildered expression that slowly transformed into a warm smile. The next morning, As dawn broke over Konoha, Naruto stood at the village gates with Jiraiya. Tsunade, Kakashi, Sakura, and surprisingly, Sasuke had come to see them off. "Remember your training regimen," Tsunade instructed, handing Naruto a sealed scroll. "And don't let this pervert corrupt you too much. I make no promises." Jiraiya grinned, earning a threatening crack of Tsunade's knuckles. Kakashi smiled at his student. "You've come a long way from the troublemaker who couldn't even create a proper clone. I'm proud of you, Naruto." Sakura hugged him tightly. "Stay safe out there. And write to us." When Naruto turned to Sasuke, the Uchiha simply extended his fist. After a moment's surprise, Naruto bumped it with his own. "Get stronger," Sasuke said simply. "I'll be doing the same, count on it," Naruto promised. "When I come back, we'll both be ready to face whatever comes next, together." As they walked away from the village, Naruto turned back one last time to see his precious people watching. The weight of the first Hokage's necklace against his chest reminded him of his promise, not just to return, but to return worthy of protecting them all. "Ready for the real training to begin?" Jiraiya asked as they crested a hill, Konoha disappearing from view behind them. Naruto nodded, his Rinnegan activating briefly as he looked toward the horizon. "More than ready. The next time Akatsuki comes for me, they'll find I'm not such easy prey. That's the spirit," Jiraiya approved. "Now let me tell you about our first destination." As master and student continued their journey, either noticed a pair of figures watching from a distant cliff, one with red clouds on a black cloak, the other wearing an orange spiral mask with a single eye hole. "The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has left the village," the masked figure observed. "With the Rinnegan, no less. Interesting developments, wouldn't you agree, Itachi?" Itachi Uchiha's Sharingan eyes regarded his companion impassively. "The plan proceeds as expected. The pieces move into position." "Indeed," the masked man agreed. "And soon, very soon, the real game begins." Chapter 13, Homecoming. 3 years passed like the changing seasons, gradually, then suddenly complete. The village of Konoha had recovered from Orochimaru's invasion, its walls rebuilt stronger than before, its forces replenished under Tsunade's leadership. Yet beneath the surface of peace, tensions brewed. Reports of Akatsuki movements increased. Villages lost their Jinchuriki to mysterious attackers in black cloaks with red clouds. The shinobi world held its collective breath, sensing the approach of something momentous. On a bright spring morning, 2 figures appeared on the road leading to Konoha's main gate. One tall and broad-shouldered with long white hair, the other of medium height with spiky blonde hair and distinctive whisker marks on his cheeks. "Home at last," Jiraiya remarked, glancing at his student. "Feeling nostalgic yet?" Naruto's eyes, currently their natural blue, scanned the village skyline, noting the changes. The Hokage monument now bore Tsunade's stern visage alongside her predecessors. New buildings had risen where destruction had once been. "It's different," he observed. "But still home." The guards at the gate did a double-take as they approached. "Naruto? Naruto Uzumaki?" Kotetsu exclaimed, rising from his seat. "Is that really you, the one and only?" Naruto grinned, his smile unchanged despite his otherwise transformed appearance. Gone was the short, loud-mouthed boy in an orange jumpsuit. In his place stood a young man in black and dark orange combat gear with flame patterns along the hem of his long coat, reminiscent of his father's, though Naruto had added his own flourishes. His hitate, now black instead of blue, was tied securely around his forehead. Most striking was the sense of contained power that seemed to radiate from him, not oppressive, but unmistakably present. "You've grown," Izumo commented, checking their names off the entry log. "In more ways than one, from what we've heard. Don't believe everything you hear," Jiraiya advised with a wink. "Except the parts about me, which are probably understated." Their first stop was the Hokage Tower, where Tsunade greeted them with poorly concealed relief. "About time you two showed up," she grumbled, though her eyes betrayed her pleasure at seeing them. 3 years was the agreement, not 3 years and 2 months. "Research takes time, princess," Jiraiya replied smoothly, dropping a thick scroll on her desk. "Comprehensive intelligence on Akatsuki movements, membership, and abilities, as requested." Tsunade's expression sobered as she took the scroll. "And the training? See for yourself." Jiraiya nodded toward Naruto. "Show her." Naruto closed his eyes briefly. When he opened them, the concentric purple rings of the Rinnegan had replaced his natural blue. "I've mastered 5 of the 6 paths," he reported. "The Naraka path still gives me trouble sometimes, but the others are fully operational." "And the 9 tails?" Tsunade pressed. "We've reached an understanding," Naruto said carefully. Not friendship exactly, but mutual respect. I can access 3 tails of chakra without losing control, and up to 6 with concentration. Tsunade nodded, impressed despite herself. And your other techniques? In response, Naruto held out his hand. A Rinnegan formed, but unlike the standard version, this one contained visible wind chakra, giving it a shuriken-like appearance. Wind release Rinnegan shuriken, he explained. My nature transformation combined with the Rinnegan. It attacks at the cellular level, severing chakra pathways. Still working on throwing it though. Impressive, Tsunade acknowledged. Though I'm more interested in how you've developed the medical applications we discussed before you left. Naruto dispelled the Rinnegan shuriken and switched to the Preta path. I can absorb chakra-based attacks and redirect them. With the human path, I've learned to read injuries within a body without invasive procedures. Combined with the outer path's ability to manipulate life force, well, I've become something of a field medic, though nowhere near your level. He saved my life twice, Jiraiya added. Once from poison, once from a wound that would have been fatal without immediate intervention. Tsunade leaned back in her chair, visibly satisfied. Good. You'll need all of it in the coming months. Akatsuki has accelerated their timetable. They've captured the 5, 6, and 7 tails already. What about Gaara? Naruto asked immediately, concern evident. Still secure in Suna, though there have been attempts, Tsunade replied. Their new defenses have held so far. But it's only a matter of time before. A frantic knock interrupted her. Shizen burst in, her face pale. Lady Tsunade! Emergency communication from Suna. The Kazekage has been abducted by Akatsuki. Naruto's eyes hardened. When? 12 hours ago, Shizen reported. Suna's council is requesting immediate assistance. One of the attackers was identified as Sasori of the Red Sand, and the other used explosive techniques to devastate their defenses. Deidara of IWA, Jiraiya supplied grimly. Explosives expert with mouths in his palms that infuse clay with chakra. Dangerous combination with Sasori's puppet mastery. Assemble Team Kakashi immediately, Tsunade ordered. This will be your first mission since returning, Naruto. A-rank rescue operation. Team Kakashi? Naruto questioned. Your old team has evolved in your absence, Tsunade explained. Kakashi still leads, with Sakura as second in command. They've been operating with temporary members as needed. Within the hour, Naruto found himself in a familiar training ground, waiting with Jiraiya for his teammates to arrive. The first to appear was a blur of pink that slammed into him with surprising force. Naruto! Sakura exclaimed, hugging him tightly before stepping back to examine him. You're taller than me now. Had to happen eventually. He laughed, taking in her changes as well. Gone was the girl with the red dress and long hair. In her place stood a confident kunoichi in a red top with black gloves, her pink hair cut practically short. The strength of her hug confirmed what Jiraiya had told him. Tsunade had trained her personally in enhanced strength techniques. Sakura-chan, you look amazing, he complimented sincerely. Tsunade-bachan said you've become her best student, second best, she corrected with a smile. Shizen still holds that title. But I've learned a lot. Medical ninjutsu, strength enhancement, poison extraction. I'm not the same girl you left behind, I can tell. Naruto nodded appreciatively. You feel like a jonin now, still Chunin officially, she admitted. But working on it. The exams are next month. A swirl of leaves announced Kakashi's arrival, surprisingly on time for once. My, the jonin observed, his visible eye crinkling in a smile. Look who's all grown up, Kakashi-sensei! Naruto greeted enthusiastically. You haven't changed at all, some things remain constant. Kakashi agreed, tucking away his ever-present Ika book. Though I hear the same can't be said for you. Jiraiya's been sending reports of your progress. All good things, I hope? Mostly. Kakashi smiled. Though the incident in T-Country with the daimyo's daughter raised a few eyebrows, Naruto flushed. That was a misunderstanding. She followed us to the hot springs and save it for the mission debriefing, came a cool voice from behind them. We're wasting time. Naruto turned to find Sasuke approaching, his expression as controlled as ever. The Uchiha had grown taller as well, his hair longer and frame more muscular. He wore a high-collared dark blue shirt with the Uchiha crest prominently displayed on the back, black pants, and arm guards similar to those AMBU wore. Sasuke, Naruto acknowledged with a growing smile. Still as cheerful as ever, I see. A ghost of a smile flickered across Sasuke's face. Someone has to be the serious one. Especially now that you've been corrupted by that pervert for 3 years. Hey! I resent that accurate characterization, Jiraiya protested. Their reunion was cut short as Tsunade arrived with Shizen, carrying mission scrolls. Time for pleasantries later, she announced. You have a Kazekage to rescue and Akatsuki members to deal with. Here are your mission parameters. She handed each of them a scroll. Team Kakashi will depart immediately for Sunagakure. Upon arrival, coordinate with their forces to track the Akatsuki members who abducted Gaara. Your primary objective is the Kazekage's safe return. Secondary objective is intelligence gathering on Akatsuki techniques and capabilities. What about engaging the enemy? Sasuke asked. Use your judgment, Tsunade replied. These are S-rank missing Nin, but between the 4 of you, you have the firepower to match them. Just remember, they want Naruto too. Don't play into their hands. And me? Jiraiya inquired. You'll follow separately, Tsunade instructed. I need you to check your network contacts along the way. Find out if this is an isolated incident or part of a coordinated Akatsuki operation targeting multiple Jinchuriki simultaneously. With their orders clear, Team Kakashi departed within the hour, racing through the trees toward the Land of Wind. As they traveled, Naruto found himself studying his teammates, noting the changes 3 years had wrought. Sakura moved with newfound confidence, her chakra control even more precise than before. Occasionally, he caught glimpses of medical supplies and soldier pills in her equipment pouch, evidence of her specialization. Sasuke was harder to read, as always, but Naruto sensed tremendous growth in his chakra reserves and control. The Sharingan activated briefly when they encountered a patrol from another village, revealing that Sasuke had fully matured his dojutsu to 3 tomo in each eye. So, Naruto ventured during a brief rest. What have you two been up to while I was gone? Besides getting stronger, training, missions, the usual, Sakura replied, checking her medical supplies. I split my time between hospital shifts and field operations. Tsunade-sama is a demanding teacher. Sasuke? The Uchiha paused before answering. Specialized training with Kakashi. Some ANBU operations. Research. Research? Naruto prompted. My clan. Sasuke elaborated slightly. Its history. The Sharingan's capabilities. There were gaps in what I knew. Something in his tone suggested there was more to it, but Naruto didn't press. Instead, he turned to Kakashi. And you, sensei? Still reading those books? Of course. Kakashi smiled. Though I've been waiting for the next installment. Perhaps you could tell me if Jiraiya-sama mentioned when it might be released? Seriously? Sakura groaned. We're on our way to rescue the Kazekage from S-rank criminals, and you're asking about smut? It's literature, Kakashi corrected mildly. With plot and character development, and explicit sex scenes, Sakura added flatly. Those too, Kakashi agreed cheerfully. The familiar banter eased the tension of their mission, if only temporarily. As they crossed into the Land of Wind and the forest gave way to desert, Naruto's thoughts turned to Gaara. The connection between Jinchuriki was something few could understand. The shared burden, the isolation, the struggle for control and acceptance. We'll get him back, Sasuke said quietly, having noticed Naruto's preoccupation. Naruto nodded gratefully. We will. No matter what it takes. Chapter 14, Red Dawn. Sunagakure was in chaos when Team Kakashi arrived. The village's defenses, once thought impenetrable, had been breached with terrifying ease. Buildings near the Kazekage's residence showed extensive damage from explosions, and the hospital overflowed with injured shinobi. They were met at the village entrance by Temari, who had been recalled from a diplomatic mission to Konoha when the attack occurred. Her usual composure was fractured by worry for her brother. Thank you for coming so quickly, she greeted them, leading the way to the emergency command center. Kankuro went after them immediately when Gaara was taken. He returned poisoned and is fighting for his life. Our medical team can't identify the toxin. Take me to him, Sakura requested immediately. Poisons are my specialty. While Sakura departed with Temari to treat Kankuro, Kakashi, Naruto, and Sasuke met with the Suna Council to gather intelligence on the attackers. 2 Akatsuki members, Baki, Gaara's former sensei, reported. One was Sasori of the Red Sand, a defector from our village and legendary puppet master. The other used explosive clay molded into birds and other creatures. He's the one who fought Gaara directly. Deidara of IWA, Kakashi confirmed. Explosive release Kekii Genkai. Dangerous mid to long-range fighter. Did Kankuro recover anything that might help us track them? Naruto asked. A piece of cloth from Sasori's cloak, Baki confirmed. But without Kankuro conscious to guide a pursuit team, I can help with that, Naruto assured him, activating his Rinnegan. The Suna officials murmured in surprise at the legendary dojutsu. The animal path allows me to summon tracking creatures. If I can examine the cloth, my summons can follow their chakra trail. Before they could proceed, Sakura returned with positive news. Kankuro will recover. I've extracted the poison and created an antidote. He's conscious and asking to speak with you. In the hospital, Kankuro looked pale but alert. Konoha ninja, he acknowledged weakly. Didn't expect to see you here, Naruto. Couldn't let them take another friend. Naruto replied seriously. What can you tell us about the fight? Sasori, he's not human anymore, Kankuro warned. His body is a puppet. My poisons had no effect. And he knows all of Suna's puppet techniques, created most of them himself. What about their destination? Kakashi inquired. North, Kankuro indicated. Toward the land of rivers. They mentioned something about 3 days for preparation before they could extract Shikaku. Naruto's expression hardened. Then we have less than 2 days left. With the cloth sample from Sasori's cloak, Naruto performed a summoning jutsu. Instead of the toads he typically called upon, this summons produced several small, dog-like creatures with Rinnegan eyes. These are chakra trackers, he explained. They can follow the residual signature from the cloth across any distance. Impressive, Temari remarked. The Rinnegan's abilities are as formidable as rumored. I'm coming with you, she added firmly. Gaara is my brother, and I as well, came an elderly voice from the doorway. An old woman with faded pink hair and a stern expression entered, her eyes fixed on Kakashi. White Fang. I've waited decades to avenge my son and daughter-in-law, honored Elder Chio. Baki acknowledged with surprise. You haven't left the village in 20 years. Sasori is my grandson, she replied grimly. My responsibility. And this one, she pointed at Kakashi, is the White Fang of Konoha who killed my son. Actually, Kakashi corrected politely. I'm the son of the White Fang. My father died many years ago. Oh? Chio blinked then laughed abruptly. Well, that's disappointing. But I'm still coming. With their expanded team assembled, they departed Suna immediately, following Naruto's chakra trackers across the desert. As they traveled, Chio shared valuable intelligence about Sasori's techniques and history. He was a prodigy with puppets from childhood, she explained. After his parents died in battle against the White Fang, I raised him, taught him our village's techniques. But something in him broke. He began experimenting with human puppets. Chio continued, her voice heavy with regret. Not just wooden constructs, but preserving the bodies of powerful shinobi and converting them into weapons that retained their original chakra systems and abilities. That's monstrous, Sakura commented, her medical training making her particularly disturbed by the concept. Indeed, Chio agreed. His first human puppet was created from the corpse of the third Kazekage, who disappeared mysteriously decades ago. After that atrocity, Sasori left the village and eventually joined Akatsuki, the third Kazekage? Temari's eyes widened. That's been one of Suna's greatest unsolved mysteries, a mystery I should have solved long ago, Chio admitted. I suspected, but couldn't bring myself to believe my own grandson capable of such an act. As night fell, they made camp near the border between the land of wind and the land of rivers. Naruto's chakra trackers had followed the trail consistently, suggesting Akatsuki hadn't attempted to conceal their destination. That concerns me, Kakashi remarked as they gathered around a small, concealed fire. They're not trying to hide. Either they're confident we can't stop them, or they want us to find them. Sasuke finished, his Sharingan briefly activating as he scanned their surroundings. Specifically, they want Naruto to find them. It's a risk we have to take, Naruto insisted. Every hour we delay is another hour Gaara is in their hands. We'll proceed with caution, Kakashi decided. Naruto, you'll remain in the center of our formation. Sasuke, take point with your Sharingan. Sakura and Elder Chio in support positions, with Temari and myself covering the rear. During his watch shift, Naruto sat atop a rock formation, his Rinnegan active as he monitored the surrounding area. The familiar presence of Sasuke approached from behind. Couldn't sleep? Naruto asked without turning. HN. Sasuke acknowledged, taking a seat beside him. Those eyes, they've changed more than your appearance. Naruto glanced at his teammate. What do you mean? You're calmer. More focused, Sasuke observed. The old Naruto would be charging ahead recklessly to save his friend, not planning formations and tracking patterns. I had a good teacher. Naruto smiled slightly. Several, actually. Jiraiya, Fukasaku at Mount Myaboku, even Kurama has taught me patience. Kurama? The Nine Tails. Naruto clarified. That's his name. Turns out Biju don't appreciate being called by their tail count. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. You're on a first-name basis with the demon fox that nearly destroyed our village? He's not just a demon. Naruto defended. The Biju were created by the Sage of Six Paths himself. They have consciousness, memories, feelings. They were weaponized by humans, not the other way around. Sasuke considered this. And what does Kurama think of our current mission? He's concerned. Naruto admitted. The extraction process kills the Jinchuriki. If we don't reach Gaara in time. He trailed off, unwilling to complete the thought. We will, Sasuke stated with quiet certainty. Get some rest. I'll take the next watch. As Sasuke turned to leave, Naruto called after him. Hey Sasuke? You've changed too, you know. The old you wouldn't have volunteered for extra watch duty. A ghost of a smile crossed the Uchiha's face. Don't get used to it. By midday the following day, the trackers led them to a massive boulder blocking the entrance to a cave. Sealing tags surrounded the boulder, creating a 5-point barrier system. This is it, Kakashi confirmed, examining the seals with his Sharingan. A 5-seal barrier. We'll need to locate and remove all 5 tags simultaneously to break it. I can help with that, Naruto offered. My shadow clones can search for the other tags while we prepare to breach the main entrance. Good, Kakashi nodded. Sasuke, you and I will take the main seal. Sakura, prepare to shatter the boulder once the barrier falls. Chio Temari, be ready for immediate engagement. According to Kankuro's intelligence, we have less than a day before they complete the extraction. Naruto created 4 shadow clones, each equipped with a communication seal developed during his training with Jiraiya. As they dispersed to locate the distant tags, he joined the others in preparing for the assault. There's something else you should know, Chio said gravely as they waited. The extraction process requires tremendous chakra and concentration. They won't be performing it alone. What do you mean? Temari asked. Akatsuki works in pairs, but for a Biju extraction, they gather more members. Chio explained. We may be facing not just Sasori and Deidara, but others as well. This sobering news heightened the tension as they waited for Naruto's clones to report. Finally, all 4 clones signaled they had located their targets. On my mark, Kakashi instructed. 3, 2, 1, now! The 5 seals were removed simultaneously. The barrier shimmered and dissolved, allowing Sakura to charge forward with chakra-enhanced strength. Her fist connected with the boulder, shattering it into fragments that exploded outward. As the dust cleared, they rushed into the cavern, only to confront a sight that froze them in place. In the center of the cave, Gaara's unconscious form floated within a sphere of chakra. Surrounding him were 9 spectral figures, projections rather than physical bodies, performing a complex jutsu. Directly before them stood Sasori, concealed within a hunched puppet body, and Deidara, sitting casually atop Gaara's body. Well, Deidara smirked. Right on schedule, And look who it is, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki himself. You're too late, one of the projections announced, a figure with ringed eyes that Naruto recognized with shock as another Rinnegan user. The extraction is nearly complete. Gaara! Naruto shouted, his Rinnegan activating as he prepared to charge forward. Patience, Naruto! The Rinnegan-wielding projection cautioned. Your turn will come soon enough. For now, Sasori, Deidara, deal with our guests while we complete the ritual. The rest of us will continue the extraction. With pleasure, Leader-sama. Sasori's raspy voice emerged from within his puppet armor. It's been too long since I added a Sharingan user and a Rinnegan wielder to my collection. Don't forget my artistic contribution. Deidara added, his hand-mouths chewing clay. True art is an explosion, after all. Sasori is mine, Chio declared, stepping forward with chakra strings extending from her fingertips. I'll handle my grandson. I'll assist Elder Chio, Sakura offered, pulling on her combat gloves. Deidara is mine, Sasuke stated coldly, his Sharingan active and tracking the bomber's movements. I'll help Sasuke, Temari added, unfolding her fan. Naruto, you and I will focus on disrupting the extraction, Kakashi decided. If we can break their concentration, we might save Gaara before it's too late. The cave erupted into chaos as both sides engaged simultaneously. Deidara took to the air on a clay bird, leading Sasuke and Temari outside the cave where he would have room to maneuver. Sasori shed his outer puppet shell to reveal his true form, a youthful-looking puppet body with a living core in the chest cavity, just as Chio had warned. Impressive, Sasori commented as he faced his grandmother and Sakura. You've maintained your skills despite your age, Granny Chio, and you've fallen further than I feared, Sasori. Chio replied sadly. What have you done to yourself? I've transcended human limitations, he answered, opening a compartment in his chest to reveal hundreds of chakra strings. I've become eternal art. While these battles unfolded, Naruto and Kakashi attempted to approach the extraction ritual. The spectral figures continued their jutsu, seemingly undisturbed by the fighting around them. We need to disrupt their chakra flow, Kakashi advised, revealing his Mangekyo Sharingan. I can target the leader with Kamei, but I'll only have one shot before my chakra is depleted. I'll use the Preta path to absorb the extraction chakra, Naruto suggested. If I can interrupt the flow between them and Gaara, it might buy us time. They moved in tandem, Kakashi creating a diversion with lightning clones while Naruto approached from another angle. As he neared the chakra sphere containing Gaara, Naruto activated the Preta path, extending his hands toward the energy flow. Interesting attempt, the Rinnegan-wielding leader observed calmly. But futile. Without breaking the ritual, one of the other projections, a man with long blonde hair covering one eye, made a hand sign. The ground beneath Naruto erupted, revealing clay explosives that detonated in a chain reaction. Naruto! Kakashi shouted, abandoning his approach to aid his student. When the smoke cleared, Naruto stood protected within a dome of chakra, the Preta path having absorbed the explosive force. His expression was grim as he realized the extent of their preparation. They anticipated everything, he muttered. They knew exactly how we'd respond. Of course we did, the leader replied. The Rinnegan sees all paths, as you should know, young Uzumaki. A sudden tremor shook the cave as Sakura's chakra-enhanced punch connected with one of Sasori's puppets, shattering it completely. The distraction gave Naruto an opening to try a different approach. Kurama, he whispered internally. I need your chakra. Take it, the Nine-Tails responded. But be careful. That other Rinnegan user, something is wrong about him. Orange chakra enveloped Naruto, forming a protective cloak as he entered his initial Jinchuriki form. With enhanced speed, he launched himself directly at the chakra sphere containing Gaara. This time, several of the projections broke their formation to counter him. A barrage of elemental attacks converged on his position: water, fire, earth, and lightning techniques from multiple directions. Shinra Tensei! Naruto called out, activating the Deva path to repel the attacks. The gravitational force created a momentary opening, allowing him to reach the edge of the extraction field. Just as his hand touched the chakra sphere, a ripple passed through it. The glow surrounding Gaara faded, and his body fell limply to the ground. You're too late, the leader announced dispassionately. The one tail is ours. The Kazekage is dead. No! Naruto roared, his chakra cloak intensifying as a second tail formed. Gaara! Outside the cave, Sasuke had cornered Deidara, using his Sharingan to predict and counter the bomber's attacks. Temari's wind techniques amplified Sasuke's fire, creating devastating combinations that had left Deidara with limited clay reserves and several injuries. You Uchiha and your cursed eyes! Deidara spat, blood trickling from a wound on his forehead. Always looking down on my art! Your art is just a pale imitation of true power, Sasuke replied coldly, gathering lightning chakra in his hand. Chidori stream! The lightning arced toward Deidara, who barely evaded by sacrificing his clay bird. As he tumbled to the ground, Temari's wind scythe technique caught him, inflicting deep cuts across his torso. Surrender! Sasuke demanded, approaching with his Chikuto drawn. Tell us how to save the Kazekage, and I might let you live, Deidara laughed maniacally. Save him? Impossible! Once the Biju is extracted, the Jinchuriki dies. It's already done, Inside the cave, Naruto knelt beside Gaara's body, his hands glowing with the chakra of the outer path, the ability to manipulate life force itself. It was his least mastered technique, one that Jiraiya had warned carried grave risks to the user. Naruto, don't! Kakashi warned, recognizing what his student intended. The outer path could kill you if you try to restore someone who's already passed. I have to try, Naruto insisted, his voice overlaid with Kurama's deeper tones as his emotion fueled their connection. I won't let him die like this. The spectral Akatsuki members had begun to disappear, their purpose accomplished. Only the leader remained, observing Naruto with analytical interest. Fascinating, he commented. You would risk your life for someone who is already gone? Such attachment is the source of all pain in this world. You're wrong, Naruto countered, channeling more chakra into Gaara's body. Connections don't cause pain, they give us strength. Something you've forgotten, fellow Rinnegan user. The leader's expression remained impassive. We will meet again, Naruto Uzumaki. When we do, I will show you the true purpose of those eyes, and the true meaning of pain. With those words, his projection vanished, leaving the rescue team alone with their fallen ally and the two Akatsuki members still engaged in battle. In the adjoining chamber, Sakura and Chio had cornered Sasori. The battle had been brutal, the cave floor littered with destroyed puppets, including the prized third Kazekage puppet that Sasori had deployed against them. You've improved our techniques, Chio acknowledged sadly, manipulating Sakura with chakra strings to evade a poison gas attack. But you've forgotten their purpose, to protect, not to destroy. Protection is temporary, Sasori replied, his puppet body showing damage from Sakura's powerful strikes. Art is eternal. There's nothing artistic about what you've done, Sakura countered, gathering chakra for another strike. You've perverted both medical ninjutsu and puppet techniques for selfish purposes. With Chio's guidance, Sakura maneuvered through Sasori's remaining traps, finally landing a decisive blow that cracked his core container. As his artificial body began to fail, Sasori looked at his grandmother with an expression that, for the first time, held a hint of his former humanity. One last gift, Granny, he said quietly. In 10 days, at noon, at the Tenchi Bridge in the Land of Grass, I have a spy in Orochimaru's organization. He can tell you everything about the snake's plans for the Uchiha. With those cryptic words, Sasori's core dimmed and went dark, the life force animating his puppet body finally extinguished. Outside, hearing the commotion from within the cave and sensing that the extraction was complete, Deidara decided to make his escape. Creating a small clay bird with his remaining resources, he attempted to flee. I don't think so, Sasuke growled, his Sharingan tracking the bomber's movements perfectly. With precise timing, he launched a phoenix flower jutsu, the multiple fireballs intercepting Deidara's escape route. As Deidara fell, Temari's wind technique caught him, slamming him into the cliff face with crushing force. Before they could capture him, however, he stuffed clay into his own mouth. Art is an explosion, he declared, his body beginning to swell unnaturally. He's turning himself into a bomb. Temari realized with horror. Get back! Sasuke shouted, grabbing Temari and leaping away as Deidara's body detonated in a massive explosion that collapsed part of the cave entrance. Inside, Naruto continued his desperate attempt to revive Gaara, pouring more of his and Kurama's chakra into the outer path technique. Sweat beaded on his forehead as the strain began to take its toll. Naruto, enough, Kakashi urged, placing a hand on his student's shoulder. You can't bring back the dead. Not even with the Rinnegan. He's right, Chio said softly, entering with Sakura after Sasori's defeat. But perhaps I can help. The elderly puppeteer knelt opposite Naruto, her hands joining his over Gaara's chest. There is a forbidden technique, created by the puppet masters of old, she explained. A reincarnation jutsu that can transfer life force from one person to another. Elder Chio, you can't mean… Sakura began, recognizing the technique from her medical studies. I do, Chio confirmed. My life has been long enough. I've made many mistakes, including with Sasori. Perhaps this can be my atonement, but you'll die, Naruto protested, though he didn't remove his hands. Chio smiled sadly. A fitting end, I think. To give my life for the young Kazekage who has already done more to change Tsunade than any leader before him. She looked directly at Naruto. Your outer path is providing a connection to his spirit that hasn't fully departed. With my technique, we might succeed where either of us alone would fail. Without waiting for further discussion, Chio began the jutsu, her chakra flowing visibly into Gaara's body. Naruto felt the connection through his own technique, the faint spark of Gaara's life force responding to their combined efforts. I can feel him, Naruto whispered. He's still there, just barely. Good. Chio nodded, her face showing increasing strain. Now focus on pulling him back while I provide the life force he needs. The cave fell silent except for the soft hum of chakra as the two worked in tandem. Sakura monitored Chio's vital signs with growing concern, while Kakashi stood guard, alert for any remaining threats. Sasuke and Temari entered, having survived Deidara's suicide attempt. The other Akatsuki member? Kakashi asked quietly. Dead? Sasuke confirmed. Self-detonation? We barely escaped. Temari rushed to her brother's side. Gaara, stay back, Sakura cautioned. They need complete concentration. Minutes passed like hours as Chiyo's life force gradually transferred to Gaara. Her breathing became labored, her skin paling as the jutsu drained her. Finally, just as her strength seemed about to fail completely, Gaara's chest rose with a sudden intake of breath. "It's working," Sakura confirmed, checking his pulse. "His heart is beating again," Chiyo smiled weakly. "Good. That's good." Her hands fell away from Gaara as she slumped backward, caught by Sakura before she could hit the ground. "Elder Chiyo!" Sakura cradled the old woman, medical chakra already flowing from her hands in an attempt to stabilize her. "No, child," Chiyo whispered. "My time has come. This was my choice." Her gaze shifted to Naruto, who still maintained the outer path connection to ensure Gaara's spirit remained anchored. "You, with the power of those eyes and the kindness in your heart, you might actually achieve what the legends promised. A revolution of this world's hatred." With those words, Chiyo closed her eyes for the final time, a peaceful expression settling on her features. Gaara's eyes fluttered open moments later, confusion evident as he took in his surroundings. "What happened?" he asked weakly. "Akatsuki captured you," Temari explained, tears of relief streaming down her face. "They extracted Shikaku. The one tail is gone," Naruto confirmed, finally releasing the outer path technique as Gaara stabilized. "But you're alive." Gaara's hand moved to his abdomen, feeling the absence of the constant presence that had been with him since birth. "I'm free of it, yes," Naruto nodded. "Though at great cost." He gestured toward Chiyo's body, now being respectfully covered by Sakura. Understanding dawned in Gaara's eyes. "She gave her life for mine. She believed in you," Naruto said simply. "In what you represent for the future of Suna." With assistance from Temari and Naruto, Gaara managed to sit up, his gaze fixed on Chiyo. "I never thought anyone would make such a sacrifice for me. That's what happens when people recognize your worth," Naruto told him. "When they see you as Gaara, not as a weapon or a Jinchuriki." The journey back to Sunagakure was solemn. Gaara, though alive, was significantly weakened by the extraction process and required frequent rest. The news of Elder Chiyo's sacrifice spread quickly through the ranks of Suna shinobi they encountered, creating a mixture of grief and gratitude. Upon reaching the village gates, they were met by a crowd of anxious citizens awaiting news of their Kazekage. When Gaara appeared, walking under his own power between Naruto and Temari, a cheer erupted that echoed off the sandstone walls. "They truly care for him now," Kakashi observed to Sasuke as they followed behind. "HN," Sasuke acknowledged. "He's earned their respect despite his past. Not unlike someone else we know." His gaze shifted meaningfully toward Naruto. The funeral for Elder Chiyo was held the following day, attended by the entire village. At Gaara's request, she was honored with the highest ceremonial rites reserved for heroes of the village. As the Kazekage delivered a eulogy praising her final sacrifice, Naruto stood among the mourners, reflecting on the parallels between his and Gaara's journeys. "She changed the course of history with a single act," Gaara concluded his speech, "proving that one person's choice can alter the destiny of many. I stand before you today not as the container of Shikaku, but simply as your Kazekage, recommitted to protecting this village with my own strength." Later, as Team Kakashi prepared to depart for Konoha, Gaara requested a private moment with Naruto. "I owe you my life," the Kazekage stated simply. Naruto shook his head. "You owe me nothing. We're the same, you and I, walking the same path, not exactly the same anymore," Gaara observed, gesturing to his abdomen. "Without Shikaku, I'm no longer a Jinchuriki, but you're still Gaara," Naruto countered. "Still the leader your people need. And now you can sleep properly for once," he added with a small smile. Gaara's lips curved slightly in response, a rare expression for him. "There is that benefit." His expression grew serious again. "What will you do about Akatsuki? They'll come for you eventually, I know." Naruto nodded, his Rinnegan briefly activating. "But I'm ready. And I won't be facing them alone." "No," Gaara agreed, extending his hand. "You won't." As they clasped forearms in the traditional shinobi farewell, Gaara added, "The alliance between Sand and Leaf grows stronger by the day. When Akatsuki makes their move against you, Suna will stand with Konoha." "Thank you," Naruto said sincerely. "Though I hope it doesn't come to open war." "As do I," Gaara concurred. "But hope must be balanced with preparation." Chapter 15. Shadows of the Past. The return journey to Konoha was subdued, each member of Team Kakashi processing the events differently. Naruto, despite the successful rescue, was troubled by the encounter with the Akatsuki leader, another Rinnegan user whose power had seemed immense even through a projection. Kakashi-sensei. He ventured as they made camp on the final night before reaching the village. That Akatsuki leader, did you recognize him? Kakashi looked up from the fire he was tending. Only by reputation. They call him Pain. Intelligence suggests he's the true leader of Akatsuki, though he operates from the shadows. He has the Rinnegan, Naruto stated. Like mine, yes, Kakashi acknowledged. Which raises interesting questions about its origin. The Rinnegan was thought to be unique to the Sage of Six Paths until you awakened it. Now there are 2 known users. 3, Sasuke corrected, joining the conversation. According to the Uchiha records I studied, Madara Uchiha was rumored to have awakened the Rinnegan near the end of his life. This revelation caught everyone's attention. Sakura, who had been organizing medical supplies nearby, looked up sharply. Madara Uchiha? The founder who fought the first Hokage, the same, Sasuke confirmed. Though the records are incomplete. Most of that information was restricted to the clan elders. How would Madara awaken the Rinnegan? Naruto questioned. I thought it was completely separate from the Sharingan. That's what most believe, Sasuke replied. But according to some ancient tablets in the Uchiha compound, the Sharingan, Byakugan, and Rinnegan all share a common ancestor, the original dojutsu of the Sage of Six Paths. Kakashi's visible eye narrowed thoughtfully. If that's true, it might explain how an Uchiha could potentially evolve their Sharingan further. But it doesn't explain how you awakened it, Naruto, with no known Uchiha lineage, unless… Sakura began, her medical knowledge connecting dots. Naruto, your mother was an Uzumaki, right? And the Uzumaki clan was known for their special chakra and life force. Right. Naruto confirmed. Jiraiya told me they were distant relatives of the Senju clan. The Senju and Uchiha were said to be descended from the sage's 2 sons, Sasuke added, recalling the ancient texts. If the Uzumaki share Senju lineage, then Naruto might have inherited the potential from both bloodlines somehow, Sakura concluded. It's just a theory, but it would explain the compatibility. Naruto absorbed this information silently, his thoughts turning to the mysterious Pain. Whoever this Pain is, he seemed to know a lot about me. About the Rinnegan's abilities. He countered everything I tried, which suggests he's been using those eyes longer than you have, Kakashi noted. We should report all of this to Lady Tsunade immediately upon our return. This connection could be crucial to understanding Akatsuki's true goals. The following day, they reached Konoha and reported directly to the Hokage. Tsunade listened gravely to their account of the mission, particularly the details about Pain and Sasori's final message regarding a spy in Orochimaru's organization. This is troubling, she acknowledged when they finished. A Rinnegan user leading Akatsuki changes our threat assessment significantly. And this information about a spy. She tapped her fingers thoughtfully on her desk. It could be a trap, but it's too valuable to ignore. What do you suggest, Lady Tsunade? Sakura asked. We'll send a team to the Tenchi Bridge to investigate, Tsunade decided. But not immediately. We have 9 days to prepare, and I want to gather more intelligence first. She turned to Kakashi. Your team has just completed a difficult mission. Take 3 days to rest and recover. After that, we'll discuss the composition of the team for this new mission. As they left the Hokage Tower, Naruto felt a familiar chakra signature approaching. Turning, he spotted Jiraiya walking toward them, his usual carefree expression replaced by uncharacteristic seriousness. Pervy Sage! Naruto greeted, though with less enthusiasm than usual, sensing his mentor's mood. Naruto! Jiraiya acknowledged. I heard about your mission to Suna. Impressive work. He nodded respectfully to the others. Would you mind if I borrowed my student for a while? We have some matters to discuss. Kakashi, recognizing the Sanin's tone, nodded. Of course. Team meeting tomorrow at noon, Naruto. Don't be late. As the others departed, Jiraiya led Naruto to a secluded training ground overlooking the Hokage monument. I've been investigating something while you were away, he began without preamble. Something concerning the Akatsuki leader you encountered, Pain, Naruto supplied. The Rinnegan user, yes, Jiraiya confirmed. My sources in Amigakure have been tracking unusual activity there for years. The village is supposedly led by a figure they call God, a man with the power to control the rain itself and who is never seen in person. You think it's the same person? I'm almost certain. Jiraiya nodded grimly. But there's more. Based on the descriptions and the timeline, I believe Pain might be a former student of mine. Naruto's eyes widened. What? You taught someone else with the Rinnegan? Not exactly, Jiraiya clarified. Years ago, during the Second Shinobi War, I encountered 3 orphans in Amigakure. I stayed for a time to teach them ninjutsu so they could protect themselves. One of them, a boy named Nagato, possessed the Rinnegan. Nagato, Naruto repeated. And you think he's now the leader of Akatsuki? The timing fits, Jiraiya confirmed. And the abilities you described match what I remember of Nagato's developing powers. If it is him, something terrible must have happened to turn that idealistic boy into the leader of an organization hunting Jinchuriki. Naruto processed this revelation silently, watching the stone faces of the Hokage carved into the mountain. What do we do? I'm going to Amigakure to investigate personally, Jiraiya announced. It's extremely dangerous. The village is isolated and hostile to outsiders. But I need to confirm whether Pain is indeed Nagato, and if so, what his ultimate goal might be. I'll come with you, Naruto offered immediately. Jiraiya shook his head firmly. Absolutely not. If Pain is targeting Jinchuriki, walking into his territory would be exactly what he wants. Besides, you have another mission approaching, the Tenchi Bridge meeting. But if he was your student, that's precisely why I need to go alone, Jiraiya interrupted. This is my responsibility. If I trained the man who became Akatsuki's leader, then I need to be the one to confront him. Seeing Naruto's concern, Jiraiya's expression softened slightly. Don't worry about your old master. I didn't become a Sannin by being careless. This is a reconnaissance mission, observe and report, nothing more. When will you leave? Naruto asked, recognizing he couldn't change his mentor's mind. Tomorrow, Jiraiya replied. Which is why I wanted to speak with you today. There are things you should know in case. He paused, then continued more firmly. In case my mission takes longer than expected. For the next several hours, Jiraiya shared information he had previously withheld, details about Akatsuki's suspected origins, theories about their ultimate goal beyond simply collecting Biju, and contingency plans he had developed with Tsunade. The key thing to remember, Jiraiya emphasized as dusk approached, is that Akatsuki isn't just after the tailed beasts for their power. There's a larger purpose, something connected to ancient legends about the Sage of Six Paths and a weapon called the Ten Tails. 10 Tails? Naruto questioned. I thought there were only 9 Biju. According to the legend, the 9 Biju were originally a single entity, the 10 Tails, that the sage defeated and divided to prevent its destructive power from threatening the world again. Jiraiya's expression grew grave. If Akatsuki is trying to collect all 9 Biju, they might be attempting to recreate that original entity. That's insane, Naruto protested. The combined power would be catastrophic, Jiraiya finished. Which is why we can't allow them to succeed. As night fell, they walked back toward the village center. Before parting ways, Jiraiya placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. One last thing. If something happens to me, there's a coded message in the first edition of the Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi in my apartment. The key is the dedication page. Nothing's going to happen to you, Naruto insisted, though anxiety gnawed at him. Jiraiya smiled, the familiar confidence returning to his features. Of course not. But a good shinobi always plans for contingencies. He ruffled Naruto's hair, an affectionate gesture from their years of training. Take care of yourself, kid. And remember everything I taught you. I will, Naruto promised. Be careful in Amigakure, pervy sage. With a final nod, Jiraiya departed, his white hair disappearing into the evening crowds of Konoha. Naruto watched him go, unable to shake the feeling that something momentous had been set in motion. The next morning, Naruto woke early, his sleep disturbed by unsettling dreams. On impulse, he headed to the village gates, arriving just as dawn broke over the horizon. There, as he'd somehow known, stood Jiraiya, preparing to depart. Came to see me off after all? The Sannin asked with a knowing smile. Something like that, Naruto replied, approaching his mentor. I had a feeling, Jiraiya nodded in understanding. The Rinnegan sometimes grants insights beyond normal perception. Trust those instincts, they may save your life someday. For a moment, they stood in silence, teacher and student, the rising sun casting long shadows behind them. I never properly thanked you, Naruto finally said. For everything you've taught me. Not just techniques, but how to be a shinobi I can be proud of. Jiraiya's expression softened. You don't need to thank me, Naruto. Watching you grow has been one of the greatest privileges of my life. He placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. You remind me so much of your father, his determination, his principles. But you have your mother's spirit, her unbreakable will. I'll make them proud, Naruto promised. And you too, you already have, Jiraiya assured him. With a final squeeze of Naruto's shoulder, he turned toward the road. Take care of the village while I'm gone. And try not to drive Tsunade completely crazy, Naruto managed a smile. No promises on that last part. With a wave, Jiraiya set off, his tall figure growing smaller as he walked the path leading away from Konoha. Naruto remained at the gates long after his mentor had disappeared from view, a sense of foreboding settling over him despite the bright morning sun.